Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. I literally just recorded it and my microphone was muted. So none of that, the whole like 12 minutes was just silent. So let's do it again. Aquarius, I see that you have recently become very, very aware of a kind of loop that's playing out. It seems that you will get into relationships and this is the emphasis is on romantic connections here. You will get into relationships that don't seem to either evolve very far, or there seems to be a kind of sudden ending that will push you into a kind of reflective place. And really, the solar plexus is being emphasized here, which is our not just confidence center, but it is truly connected to identity and willpower. And so, what I see in this spread is really talking about someone who, when they get into connections, kind of I was getting the image of like someone kind of fitting into a mold. Maybe you make certain sacrifices or negotiate kind of your needs or like your routines or whatever priorities you have in your life to kind of fit into your partners in a way. And it's a more on the unhealthy side of the spectrum, where it's like you want to be able to obviously share a life with someone, you want to be considerate of them, you want to spend time with them in that way. But this is moving a little bit more into an extreme where there's like imbalance, right, where we're more so immersing ourselves almost in the life, where the perspective, or even just energetically, this is like kind of taking on others will, honestly, others will, and that is kind of affecting your identity. And it's really showing that once you are outside of relationships, there is like a truth and a clarity here with this Ace of Swords, where it's like it's really interesting because the perceived loss is always bringing us back to like, you are a very like clairvoyant person I'm seeing here. I think you, within the first few moments of meeting like these potential partners, are very aware of whatever the eventual deal breaker is that brings this relationship to its end. But there's just a kind of choice to look away from that. I think you are also very drawn to people who tend to have emotional walls up. They may not be the most emotionally available. And we're being asked to interrogate like what is the driving force behind kind of feeling almost like a sense of accomplishment. I'm getting, Aquarius, when you can either convince someone to like lower their walls, or you kind of break through in a way. And I'm literally seeing someone like kind of pierce through, like how Wolverine just like immediately like heals himself. And I don't know why like I'm getting Wolverine specifically, but how Wolverine is like he just heals immediately. So I'm seeing like someone being impaled, and then just the wound closes around whatever is the thing that did the impaling. um I also want to say Aquarius is like this kind of something that I haven't heard a lot of spiritual practitioners speak about. And let me refocus. My ADHD just started taking me on a whole different tangent there. Something that I have not heard a lot of spiritualists speak about, or what happens when we break through energetic barriers that are not, we either don't have permission to step through, or there's like a kind of forcefulness that's happening. And it's like there's kinds of sicknesses that happen, and they can manifest differently with different people, but this is more so like I'm really getting this leads to a kind of like mental fog when you do this with partners who have, for whatever reasons, energetic barriers around their emotions. This is like trying to get people to give you more than they are ready to give. This is like trying to get people to disclose more than they're ready to disclose, because you are trying to establish that closeness. Um, Moving forward, I do have to give a couple little slight, cautions and warnings. And I want to be very clear, this is not coming from a judgmental place. You are free to do whatever you want to do with whoever you want to do. There is just a note about making sure that we are taking care of ourselves and taking the necessary precautions to make sure that if we're being physically intimate with people, even if it is just one person, although there are many people in this spread, you could just be, just dating, and that's fine. But just making sure we're protecting ourselves and our bodies and making sure that we're, being very aware of our health. There's also a little note about potential unplanned pregnancies. So just be very aware, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your body. Um, I see you, Aquarius, in the near future. Really, in the phrasing that I was getting was like just brutally honest, taking a brutally honest look at the connections in your life and whether or not they are helping you move toward it, like move in a direction that you were wanting to go. Because I'm seeing what at least the ones around you right now are lending to a lot more confusion and a lot more like, again, there's just a sense of not really being clear either about where the relationship is going, or it's like you are reconsidering your own goals and priorities because you're in the relationship and you're trying to kind of bring this person along with you on your path when it may not be their path. And it's causing a great deal of delays, to be honest, in whatever this. I see that you have a very clear goal and you are moving towards something. There's something that you want to accomplish here. But literally the turbulence of the kind of highs and lows of these relationships that you find yourself engaging in is like it may, I'm like, it's a couple of things. It's like you could be the type of person where after a breakup, like you will just throw yourself 110% into your work because that's how we're coping. Or it's like you're in this place of like grief and mourning where it's like I don't even want to do my work because now I'm, thinking nonstop about why this connection ended, or that kind of a thing. There's also a little note about making sure that we're not thinking that there's like the perspective that there's something wrong with you. Like I'm literally seeing like the hermit is coming through in more of like a shameful like isolation where you're stepping away from people because there's a sense of shame tied into this, and shame is a belief that you may be actively trying to like reteach yourself how to deal with our emotions in a way that is not shameful. um But I also see, Aquarius, you may have the type of connections where when they end, um, there's like some hurt words because of hurt feelings. You know what I mean? There could be a little bit of immaturity that happens. And I'm even seeing maybe you engage in this sometimes, Aquarius, like a little bit of shit talking, a little bit of dirt throwing. And I see that the whole energy that I'm getting at this is kind of like a just like a deep sigh of exhaustion of like not wanting to continue this pattern, Aquarius, and really just wanting to kind of move forward and get to the root of whatever it is that's like pushing you to engage in these types of connections time and again, and why the kind of clarity and the understanding that you come to when you were on your own is gets a little muddied. You know what I mean? When we are in connection with people and what's happening there. If there's a kind of like abandoning of the self when we are in someone else's presence and what is really going on there. Um, I do believe that is everything that the reading is wanting me to say. The oracle that I pulled for you is number 5, Leo. It says kingdom, and the advice is you are the king or queen of your own life. You have sovereignty over your actions and decisions. You can create a life where your needs are met. Learn to say no as a full sentence. You have power. It is real. You do not need permission from anyone else to live your life well. Begin to embody your dreams. Be fearless and go after what you want. All right, Aquarius. And I also just wanted to say, last little note is like, you may very well, whatever this project is, like, because we have the 3 of Pentacles out, it may be something where you want to build community with others. And you, again, in just your sign, like the Aquarius sign, I don't know if I mentioned this or it might have been in the other recording, but like Aquarius itself is very, I'd say at minimum skeptical of like established rules, like societal rules and expectations, and dynamics. So you really could even be in a place of interrogating whether or not what we consider like traditional relationship dynamics work for you. But I also want to say, like, what it is that you want to build is meant to like disrupt almost the status quo. So it is imperative that you maintain that sense of clarity, and sureness of self when you get in connections with people, right? And this is, you can learn these energetic boundaries. You can learn how to be able to discern whether or not an emotion that you're experiencing is yours or coming from someone else. And I think that's just very important for what it is that you want to do, Aquarius, moving forward. All right. I encourage you, and I see that you're doing great, and just don't get down on yourself. Okay. We all experience these kinds of relationship dynamics. All right. If you are here and you haven't checked out the other readings and you know your sun, moon, and rising, definitely do that. We're going to have them all out today. And you know the deal. I appreciate all of the button clicking, or if you want to leave any comments, I love hearing from you guys. I hope to see you next time. Bye, Aquarius.